Killing Lurrus first gives me access to kill his Lurrus. Yeah, but his Lurrus... But if I kill my opponent's Lurrus, that unlocks their Tourach, right? That unlocks their Tourach. Or so their Kroxa. Unlocks their Kroxa in hand. Their Lurrus is already not doing anything while the Voidwalker's in play. You can lose the Lurrus. We're playing against an opposing Lurrus deck. This Thoughtseize is probably okay. I think I'll graveyard it. Against burn, so glad I put back the Thoughtseize. Glad to have a land that deals me no damage, or hand that deals me no damage. Glad to have a cheap removal spell in this matchup. Blue-white Stoneblade. Streaming is very easy. It's very easy. You just collect your viewers' channel points, and then you tell them, sorry, Snapcaster is not good, and then you tell them to play anything. I don't know, Snapcaster is a fine card in some decks, but it has always been at its weakest in blue-white, and like these iterations of blue-white that now play Solitude, and they play a lot of like higher mana value cards. These are like the worst versions of, I guess I should heat this after they attack to try not to flood out so badly every game. It's like, this deck is just so much better if you end up cutting your Snapcaster mages. You add... When I've been playing this deck, I've been playing 3 Teferi, 3 Jace. I really like Jace a lot in this deck. I like Jace a lot more than Deluge. I've been playing 4 Archmage's Charm. I've been playing 1 Maul of the Skyclave as the 6 equipment. 26 lands is way too many. 26 lands is actually way too many in this deck. I feel like I was playing 22. I see you're playing 4 Field of Ruin. Field of Ruin is like really, really awkward when you're playing... Who's a Ragavan top? I think I'll keep Ragavan on top. Although I could actually graveyard it, get Delirium, and then Kolaghan's command back to Ragavan. It's probably a bit better. Maybe I was supposed to surveil in response to the trigger, actually, too. You can't afford to play 3 basic planes and 4 Field of Ruin in a deck with Archmage's Charm. It's just not... even with 2 Mystic Gates, it's like, why do you have 3 basic planes? You also have 4 Counterspell. It's just way too many. Doesn't really make any sense, you know? I guess we're going for Lurrus now. They're stumbling on lands. I have a blue-white Stoneblade list you can look up in the Stream Decker that I recommend. It's basically this exact list, and I would recommend playing that 75 instead. I can post that list in the chat. But yeah, Field of Ruin's like not even a card like I think is... It's very slow. It doesn't impact the board very much. It's not a card I like very much in today's Modern. I think I want to kill the Eidolon before I do anything else. I know that like getting Lurrus down is a priority, but if I'm going like Lurrus, cast creature, taking 4, they kill the Lurrus, I go Kolaghan's command back, just taking too much damage. Let me get that blue-white list for you. White command on my turn, player on Borostrom. Here's the blue-white list I would recommend. I posted in the chat there. Yeah, if they Borostrom give indestructible, like I could very easily lose to this Eidolon. Is Snapcaster below the bar in terms of power, or in the environment not right for it? It's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. There are some decks I like Snapcaster Mage in, like these Thing in the Ice decks specifically. I've been really liking them in, but like in these blue-white lists where your only 1 mana spell is Prismatic Ending, Snapcaster Mage is not very good. It's, you know, it just is what it is. It's like you need a lot of cheap 1 mana spells for Snapcaster to be good. Okay, don't think I'm casting that one. If I play my Lurrus, it's going to die to Rift Bolts. My opponent's hand, they're going to Borostrom me down to 10, and then they have 9 points of burn to follow that up. So I think I actually do have to just trade Lurrus for the Rift Bolt here. Guess maybe why I played Din instead of Shinka and cast the Ragavan just now. Oh, I should have cast the Ragavan that turn. Yeah, sorry. My honest reasoning, I was doing the deck tech. Playing kind of fast. I don't know why my opponent would draw a card there instead of using their mana. I feel like that's a bit weird. I feel like I would much rather have just like used my mana on the Boros Charm. They have an answer to my Lurrus. And it's also like if they don't draw lands, then they are not gonna be able to like deploy their hand that well. They do have a land. So their hand is gonna be Skewer, Boros Charm, Lava Spike, Mystery card. Misclick. Maybe. It's kind of hard to make that misclick though. 1 mana shy of dashing Ragavan and activating Den. But has 10 points of burn in their hand that we know about. Being at 14 should put us in okay position to draw a card off Bauble. Tourach, Kroxa are both amazing draws. This is so frustrating. This is like this. How many times in like the last 2 matches have I like had a turn where I'm like, I have all lands in hand, but I'm drawing off Bauble, and I have a lot of great top decks, and I draw 2 lands. That happened like 2 or 3 times last matches. Just one of those days, man. Just one of those days. Stop playing Black Red today. I mean, I've just been running bad with everything today, you know. I haven't had a good time with anything today. It just do be like that sometimes, you know. It do be like that sometimes. This game's also not over. We can still absolutely win it. It's just been a rough day, man. Like, if we just hit a burn spell off Ragavan next turn, the game's over. My opponent also didn't, like, Lava Spike me last turn, so, like, they let this mana go to waste. Like, my opponent's, I don't think, playing this very well. Trying to think if there's anything I can see on either player's library that would make me want to not attack with Ragavan. I guess if I see, like, a land on top of my opponent's library, I'm, like, pretty likely to survive next turn because they didn't cast a 1-mana burn spell here. Okay, that should be a win. Should be a win.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
So I cut the Thoughtseizes in this matchup, bring in the Unearthed Voidwalker Spellbomb, and I usually go down 2 Kolaghan's commands. Oh, sorry, I usually bring in the 3rd Terminate, cut all the commands. Voidwalker is like kind of medium in the matchup, but what's nice about it is if they ever draw a Helix and you have Voidwalker, they have to kill the Voidwalker, and you really want your opponent to use their removal spells on Voidwalker and not your creatures in this matchup. Magus with the thing at 5 back, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. What does Terminate hit that command does in this matchup? Nothing, but it kills a creature for 2 mana instead of 3, which is really, really important. To like kill your opponent's creatures in a timely fashion and not take damage from them. The fact that this is, you know, killing their creatures for 3 mana is just so slow. And then I know it has other text, making them discard a card can be good, but it's very often just too slow and cumbersome in this matchup where you need your spells to be cheap and quick. If you got a gifted stuff from Magnus, they make sure to thank them. Okay, pretty good hand. We have the Blackcleave Cliffs is always nice to have in against Burn. A lot of cheap removal. Love this hand. Tourach is also pretty good too. Okay. I guess I'm bolting main phase so I don't have to go to discard. Hoping for no Sanctifier. We did bring in the Pyrite Spellbombs for this. And it's also kind of true that they if I have this Ragavan going, they're like not that likely to attack with a Sanctifier at least. Yeah, I'm summoned for... yeah, that sounds good, Esther. If you want to order, that's fine. Or If you want to wait for me, that's fine too. Okay, do I want to play around Boros Charm? I think no. I'll just wait. If they attack with Eidolon, I'll just probably trade Ragavan with it. Notably, the Tourach can attack through the Sanctifier. Come down, get 2 cards out of their hand. Yeah, that sounds good, Esther. Thank you. When a main phase bolts me, which means they must have Skewer of Critics. It's kind of interesting that they'd be... Yeah, it still feels weird that they're just doing this main phase pre-combat. Yeah, I don't understand them casting it these cards main phase pre-combat. I guess that means they've committed to not attacking. But both of those cards were instants too. Yeah, that was weird, right? And then I get to Tourach their hand away. Their hand was Eidolon Skullcrack. I don't know, that's so weird. They drew Sacred Foundry for turn. They can put Lurrus in their hand, or they might not, but those are their options. They also have the option of starting to attack with Sanctifier, which they continue to decline. I get to attack my opponent down to 12, put Lurrus in my hand, and play Blood Crypt tapped. I'm also almost definitely going to Lightning Bolt them end of turn. Yeah, they wanted to maximize Eidolon damage regardless of which player has taken the damage, huh? Yeah, deal X damage daily quest. Okay, they decided to put Lurrus in their hand this turn after drawing another land. Remember that they actually have a little bit of flood insurance, although that is a bit of tension with Sanctifiers. Your Lurrus is definitely worse. Okay, so I get to Inquisition their Lurrus, grow my Tourach up to 5 power. Should be pretty good here. Thinking Vec is too strong, protects your red, black, and validates some decks entirely. Am I nuts about that? I mean, Modern has always... A big part of Modern's identity has always been incredibly powerful, effective sideboard cards, right? You know what I mean? It's like... Yeah, I mean, I'm playing a red-black mid-range deck here, and I'm beating the Sanctifier, but... Modern's always been a format of super powerful sideboard hosers, and Sanctifier is one of those cards. It's like, yeah, there are tons of cards in Modern that are like Sanctifier. And it's hard to say that this, like, and really it's like, I feel like when you say this card is too strong against some decks, that likely means it's too good against your pet deck, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not even like the best card against Dredge, right? Yeah. It's good, very good against Dredge, yeah. But also, I don't have any sympathy for Dredge. The only cards that are good against Dredge are sideboard cards for the most part. If anything, the sideboard cards against Dredge are not powerful enough. This is my take. Yeah, I've been X1 dropping, trying to break the record. It's been like especially tough to like maintain pace because I've got a lot of other commitments too. Okay, so this is Oops All Spells. They've kept a 1-lander here, so I think it's pretty easy that we take a Pin-Tide Prism here. If they don't draw an untapped land this turn, we get to take their Sphere of the Suns. They did draw the untapped land, so we get to take the Undercity Informer. And so they are, they need to draw still another mana source and another payoff, and they have to do it while we are still pressuring their hand with discard. So our draw has definitely been pretty good against theirs. Did they build a 4 or 5? They built a 5. They do have a pretty free discard with this Vengevine. They did immediately draw the mana, which is horrible for us, because now, as soon as they draw another Undercity Informer or Balustrade Spy, we die. I'm sure some people in the chat are asking how the combo works. It's very convoluted. I'll explain it at some point, probably, but just know that if they draw an Undercity Informer, Balustrade Spy, they get to hit me with 4 Creeping Chills and 4 Vengevines. They have 4 Undercity Informer, 4 Balustrade Spy, so they have a lot of ways to accomplish this. Seems like they could cast Creeping Chill. Yeah. Guess I'm gonna start dashing the Ragavan. What's nice is that Ragavan can actually hit an Undercity Informer or Balustrade Spy and mill them, which sometimes can kill your opponent. Kind of depends on exactly what's in there, what's going on over there. We exiled a Vengevine, so that's 1 Vengevine down, I guess. Our best draws are still probably Kolaghan's Command to cut them off black mana, which is pretty important. Then I'm gonna attack them for 4. Balustrade Spy, Undercity Informer. It's. I guess I cast that. That's 2 Vengevines exiled. So notably now, if they go off to hit me with Creeping Chill down to, I still die because they have 2 Vengevines left in the deck. One's in the graveyard, one's in their deck. Yeah, they still kill me if they rip their combo piece. But my clock's getting faster. And what's funny is it's like if I hit the Balustrade Spy or to enter Insidious Informer from their hand or from their deck first, I think I win. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have played this. Obviously. Although they already had the black mana with the sphere, I don't really think it's that bad. Be fine. They're dead next turn if they don't top deck. We're dead this turn if they do. I think. Okay. To be honest, I feel like I've never seen them draw that poorly. Maybe this is where our luck starts to swing around, huh? Sometimes you can E on 2. It's kind of slow, though. Yeah, just a little bit of Copium for sure. But listen, if I'm not taking Copium, we're in bad shape here. How's that deck going? Okay, so yeah, I'll explain it now. They've got a little bit more time. So their deck is all the lands that they play in their deck are actually in DFCs. So the deck is called Oops All Spells because their deck is composed entirely of spells, but their lands are the dual face lands from Zendikar. I think I'll submit this. No, I'll play an EE over the Terminate. Okay, so we've got that established, right? So there are 2 cards at 4 mana in Magic. One's an uncommon, one's a common. Undercity Informer and Balustrade Spy. These creatures allow you to mill yourself until you mill a land. Because their deck is all spells and no lands, when they cast this card and target themselves, that means that they are going to mill their entire library. When they mill their entire library, that means they're going to hit 4 copies of Creeping Chill, which each drain your opponent for 3 life, so that's 12 damage, and then they have 4 Vengevines in the graveyard. And you might be wondering, wait, how do they get the Vengevines back? They've only cast 1 creature spell, and I'm so glad that you asked that. I'm so glad that you asked. How they do that is they have a card called Salvage Titan in their graveyard. Salvage Titan can be returned from your graveyard to your hand if you exile 3 artifacts from your graveyard. It goes to your hand, and then you can cast it for 0 mana if you sacrifice 3 artifacts. And you say, Spike, how in the world do they have 3 artifacts in play? And it's really, I'm also glad that you asked that. It's really quite simple. When they play a lot of these mana rocks like Pintad Prism, but what they also do is they have Sword of the Meek in the graveyard, which returns from the graveyard to play if a 1/1 creature enters play. And then you're like, what? How in the world are they also getting 1/1 creatures in play to return the Sword of the Meek attached to? And I'm thrilled that you asked that. They have Narcomoeba in their deck, which when they mill the deck, that means the Sword of the Meeks enter. They come attached to the Narcomoebas. You sack the swords, the Salvage Titan, and then the Vengevines, they come back to play. And then they hit you for 16. The Creeping Chills already hit you for 12. And opponent is just conceding here. I think. There's also like there's more. They also like if that's not good enough, they have Memory's Journey to get Thassa's Oracle and cast Thassa's Oracle. Did my opponent just not read Voidwalker? Did they not bring in any answers to Voidwalker? Yep, that seems to be the case. Yeah, they also have. Yeah, there's also Goblin Charbelcher. There's always more to the and then there's Phantasmagorion. There's always more to the deck. It's a pretty complicated deck. Why does this deck work? Makes it competitive. So why it works is because you get to play 4 copies. You get to play 8 copies. Eight 4-mana cards that win the game by themselves. 8 4-mana cards that win the game when you cast them. And it's a 1-card combo effectively with the restriction being your deck is built this way. And so it is very easy to mulligan to 3 mana or 4 mana sources. Ideally one of them is a mana rock, so you can just kill them on turn 4 if they don't have any interaction for you, which that's a very powerful effect. And then you're like weaker to sideboard cards. Like so you win game 1 most of the time, and then you are weaker to sideboard cards, but you have ways to fiddle around the sideboard cards, to finagle around them. But what if a card was 4 mana and said win the game, every deck would play as many of that card as it could. That thing feels very fragile to any deck disruption. Like if they lose, they're not gonna be right. Yeah, of course their deck is really weak to interaction, but it's also like it's very good at top decking. It's very good at just like top decking. Oops, I drew my Undercity Informer or Balustrade Spy. I win. I guess I'll keep this on top because of Luris, or sorry, Ragavan. They revealed Luris. You know what I mean? They're just really easy at kill you. But that's what you sign up for when you play these kind of decks. Oh, the mirror. There are some cards that just beat you, but you play cards that just beat your opponent too. It is what it is. Not every deck is good against everything. Okay, I'm gonna keep the second Kolaghan's command here. Then I'll take their Terminate, and then I'll Lightning Bolt this. You should play whatever you think would be most fun, McDoms. It's F&M. Yeah, you might think that I have enough life to dex himself next turn. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was gonna get there, but maybe it was best to move on. It's kind of nice to be the Rakdos pilot that's drawing really hot, on this side of the field. I'm keeping the land there so I can get Delirium for Channeler next turn. Yeah, and some people like to play those kind of decks. I think they could be fun to play. They could be a really nice change of pace, especially if you play a lot of decks like this over and over again. Okay, so I get to attack for 3, and then it is a really interesting conversation about putting Luris in my hand or not here. I think I usually don't like to, where if my opponent kills my Channeler, I can return it, make them discard, or if they play their own Luris, I get to kill their Luris, which is pretty nice. And then putting Luris in my hand is like pretty weak to like them having a discard effect. Although if they have like Tourach here, I guess it's like, yeah, Tourach is pretty bad for me if they have it here. Looks like they are going to go for Luris Channeler. Yeah, so I'm supposed to be playing Stoke over lands. I don't know, I just kind of... I took him out because I forgot to change the file, and then I forgot to change the file, and... I'm going to wake up in a nursing home one day having a dream about my chat, 60 years ago, asking me about snow-covered lands at Rakdos. Now think about this moment when that happens. I guess I had the Shinka. I guess I didn't need to terminate this. Rewarded by just putting the Kroxa in the yard. Exile there, Kroxa. Great shape here. What is the snow cover Laymander? So if you hit a snow card with Voidwalker or Ragavan, specifically onto ice, not really so much Ice Fang, but if you see it onto ice, which not very many decks play, it's like the Bant control list I've been playing and like Esper control, or sorry, and Enchantress. These decks play onto ice sometimes. You'll situationally be one able to put that on your land, and there really isn't any downside to playing snow cover basics. Nobody plays Break the Ice, and even if they do, you kind of would like prefer for them to board it in against you. But Upsal spells be quite optimal to grind the trophy race. Am I right? I think you're wrong, to be honest. This is. I think that the average take, and a lot of people say this. I'm not trying to single you out. This has been like a really common sentiment that the best deck to grind the trophy race are like these fast linear decks that either win fast or lose fast. But what you have to understand is like, I don't think Upsal spells gives you the best chance to trophy a league. And you might think, oh, you're X1 dropping, it's fine. But the reality is like X1 dropping Upsal spells, you're still committing like an hour and a half, 2 hours if you're 2 hours sometimes if you're 4-0, and if it's a really, I guess probably not 2 hours for Upsal spells. But it's just like I think that you just need to play the deck you think is the best for the most part. There's a lot of like juggling, like mental fatigue, and there's a lot of other things. But I think that just playing fast decks and hoping to get lucky 5 times in a row is not a good way to win the race. You know what I mean? Like the amount of time it takes to like just try to win 5 matches in a row just on luck is not a good chance. Because like if you think that Belcher is a coin flip, or sorry, Upsal spells is a coin flip, I think if you're like really 50-50 to win any match, which you're probably close to for Upsal spells, maybe like 52-53%. Like winning 5 coin flips in a row takes a long time, right? Like let's say, you know what I mean? By living in like Menino Day. Well, the thing about what's great about living in for the race is that it's really good and really fast. Like I think Oops is like not that good at the moment. I think there's a lot of graveyard hate, and so it's not a deck that I'm that interested in playing. So, but a deck like Living in the hand of Menino Day probably have much higher win rate. 32, yeah, it's 32 leagues to get a trophy. That's 32 hours around, maybe more, maybe less, on average to get 1 trophy. If assuming win rate is 50%, it's probably a little higher than that. But let's say it's like a little higher than that, and it's it takes you 20 hours of grinding on average to just get lucky and trophy there. Just not worth. Okay, let's shuffle that heat. We have 2 terminates. Unearth is one of the best cards in the matchup, but I think I take the heat and try to lead on the Voidwalker here. Yeah. I'm not saying that these decks are 50%, and in the hands of like really good players like Sodek or Bob, like they are significantly higher for sure. But I also like have not been playing Belcher or Upsal spells. Like I think I could pilot them proficiently. I couldn't play them as well as someone who plays those decks all the time though, which makes them worse to race with in my opinion. All right, pretty easily playing the Voidwalker here, shutting off my opponent's yard for the most part. Do you think that skill outweighs luck in Modern? I don't know. These kind of arguments, like skill outweigh luck, it's like, obviously, it's Magic the Gathering. Like both like skill and luck play very big parts in the format, and that is the case for any format that you play, not just Modern. It's always been like that. It will always be like that. It's very hard to quantify how much of how much of your winnings are attributed to luck, how much of your winnings are attributed to skill. It's just like, And then like even if you are able to figure it out, like it doesn't like really even matter that much. But I am saying, like, you know, you need to, if you're for trophy racing specifically, you do need to play the deck that you are the most skilled at, in my opinion, because if you don't, I think you're at a pretty big disadvantage. Like the amount of time it takes to trophy leagues on average is just way too high if you're not playing the deck that you think has the highest percentage. What I'm saying is Luris, Unearth, Kroxa, they played the Shizo. Just cheat and claim. You're lucky to have skill, and then it's all luck because there is... Dude, it's too late in the day for me to even read this sentence. I haven't had the lunch yet. Just cheat and claim that you're lucky to have skill, and then it's all luck because skill is a subset of luck. Oh, man. My head is spinning. Okay, so I think I like Unholy Heat on the Voidwalker, put my own Luris in hand. See if they have a removal spell. I don't think they do. What decks are losing the race? You can look at the Stream Decker and see. Like it's been changing a lot, but like a lot of it's like been coming back to like the Ragavan decks. But there's also like a lot of Ragavan decks, and they're all like good at different times. Like there's like 4 main Ragavan decks I've been playing. This deck, Murktide, Shadow, and Hammer, and then a lot of like control variants I've also been playing. I've been winning a lot with like Jeskai Lotus Field. Lately winning a lot with Team of Reclamation. Some like Thing in the Ice, Luris control decks. Some like Bant control I've been trophying with. Some Reanimator variants I liked a lot earlier in the race. I haven't liked the Unearth the Reanimator variants very much in the race lately. Still been trying them out every once in a while. And so it's but I would say the vast majority of my trophies are with like either like the various Ragavan strategies or like control variants. You can't double queue in a league. Yeah, you can only be in one league at a time. Oh no, you can only cast your opponent's spells with void counters. Good question though. Why do you not like Reanimator anymore, or was it just for the race? You know, talking about specifically for Reanimator, I think that it's just. I mean, I don't think it's an unplayable deck in the format. I don't think it's a particularly well-positioned deck anymore. And right now, what I don't like about it is Hammer Time is not like the deck to beat anymore. Where when Hammer Time is the deck to beat, I think Reanimator gets really good. One, because Reanimator is great against Hammer Time. And 2, because your opponents are more so gearing their sideboards to beat Reanimate or to beat Hammer Time, and they're playing less Graveyard Hate than they would be if Hammer Time, you know, and if Hammer Time's not that popular, they're playing more Graveyard Hate usually, if that makes sense. Yeah, Tron's been pretty popular lately because like 4 colors been picking up, and then like Tron and Titan are picking up to beat the 4 color deck a little bit, and like I'm trying to like correct for that a little bit, maybe too much, but I'm playing this deck with the idea that this deck's pretty good against Tron. It's all, you know, it's one thing you have to understand too, when you're like talking about these metagame changes in Modern, it's like there's a lot of nuance and there's like a lot of complications, but it's also like you can also just play against random jank, even if you feel like you're on top of everything. there's like a big degree of randomness, which is fun, but it's also like just makes it so difficult. Yeah, a lot of ins and a lot of outs. What's the deck to beat? Well, I think the deck to beat might still be 4-color Omnath, which is why you're seeing so much Tron. But I think that, you know, 4-color Omnath was like the deck to beat of this week, and I think it's already starting to be on its way out, to be honest. Don't I have just a free block here? The last card's Kroxa. I'm just going to terminate now so they can't draw 1 mana removal spell, 1 mana removal spell, kill both my Voidwalkers, stop me from keep their Luris in the graveyard. Which I guess is not very likely, huh? Bolts my Luris. Which I can get back with a Voidwalker if I want to, and then replay a Voidwalker, which sounds pretty good. I guess I should probably cast their Luris. No, I should cast the Unearth, because if I cast their Luris and it gets in their graveyard, then maybe they can unearth their Luris back, right? We are 3-0-6-0 this league, despite having a really, really rough rest of the stream. If you've been around, the rest of the stream has gone horribly. But we're 3-0, so hopefully we can just run well for 2 matches and get out of here. Hopefully we can just run well for 2 matches and get out of here. I'm going to get some water. That's an Esper thing, nice versus Jeskai. Both seem fine. I think both decks are fine. You'd have to play a lot of both to really determine what's better, and I just haven't played a lot of both. Okay, opponent, no companion. Gonna keep his hand. The heats might not be that good, but I think you still keep. Okay, heats heats look like they're gonna be pretty good. What a terrible keep. I'm gonna take the fatal push, maybe. Obviously, if my opponent rattles off lands, we're gonna be in bad shape, but hopefully that's not the case. Punished. How often I've run into Sahili Cat combos? Sahili Cat combo was pretty bad in Modern. I have played decides to play the land. What was the tank? Did they have a 2-drop? They're in a Spyro, Bolt, Bloodbraid, Mystery card. Never punished. Doesn't cast the Seasoned Pyromancer though. I can Inquisition it. They must have drawn Endurance. Which is very good here for them. They discarded one of the 2 Seasoned Pyromancers to Kroxa last turn. They don't have 2 Seasoned Pyromancers. Thoughtseize the Bloodbraid Elf, I guess, and just be in pretty bad shape still. Guess I'm the one who kept the bad 2-laner. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so, huh? They even get to start getting Spyro tokens. Game's just over. It is what it is. Their deck's pretty interesting. Very creature-heavy version of Jund. Taking their time on my instep, huh? Feeling about Hierarch and Jund now that it's been out a while. It's an option. I think it's probably an option you want to stay away from. It was a card that I thought would be pretty good in Jund before I tested how good Dragon Rage's Channeler was, and I think that if you're looking for a second 1-drop to play in Jund, it's probably going to be Channeler, or you know, Elvish Reclaimer is an option some people like. Do I have to heat the Renin 6 here? I'm trying to picture like even what winning this game looks like. I don't know what it looks like. I really don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to heat the Bolt or not, or heat the Ren or not. Cassie Kroxa next turn doesn't do anything. I get their tokens back. They're hitting me for 5 more, down to 3. I can draw Terminate. I think drawing Terminate's like what winning this game maybe looks like. Then like it's just over. Maybe I should concede, but I feel bad conceding. You know, at 3-0 here. Okay, my opponent drew another Endurance. They were gonna instinctively cast it, but then they realized I don't have Delirium. So I think I'll just take my draw and concede. Yeah. Just take the draw and concede. And then we'll bring in the Needle because they're a red and 6 stack, the Unearths and the Voidwalkers. Terminate number 3 might be good. Killing Goyfs and Endurance seems pretty nice. They are playing Noble Hierarch. I think I'll trim 1 copy of Lightning Bolt. And then go down to 3 or 4 discard spells on the play. I think I'll do 2/2 split of Inquisition Thoughtseize because they do have Bloodbraid Elf. Then maybe I do go down to 1 bolt, play 4 heat, 3 terminates, and play 2 Tourach. I will mulligan. Not a very good hand, but definitely keep on 6. Opponent kept 7 on the draw here. Oh man, this is the second 1-land ignoble hierarch hand my opponent's kept. I'm gonna take their second Veil of Summer, I think. They got super rewarded last time. They love this hand. Opponent holds up Veil instead of casting the ignoble hierarch. One Kroxa out since they have Blood's Graveyard. Hey, Kroxa is kind of like the best card in the matchup, but maybe, I mean, yeah. Drew a land. It's not my opponent playing around a second discard spell makes nothing but sense here. It's not sus at all. Oh, sorry, I need to heat, sorry. It is not sus at all. I took one of the Veil of Summers with a discard spell. It's very easy for them to infer that I just have another discard spell if I take one of the Veils. I was supposed to do this end of their turn. Okay, so my opponent's hand is Veil of Summer, Inquisition of Kozilek, Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt. And then 2 mystery cards. One of those mystery cards is another land, which is what it is, huh? Veil, Bolt over there. I'm going to go ahead and put Luris into my hand. I should have played the Graven Cairns and not the Mountain, because now I give them information what my draw step was. That was definitely a mistake. Why take the Veil of Summer if you think it's right for opponents to play around you trying to discard their first? Mostly that the rest of their hand is very weak here, right? Like, I don't have any cards in my hand that I'm weak to lightning. I have that Lightning Bolt gets. I have a Heat for the Hierarch. Veil of Summer is incredibly good against me, and not having to fight through 2 over the course of the game seems like something I'm interested in. And they also, like, just because I think it's correct for them to play around the Veil, play around the second discard spell, doesn't mean that they're going to either. They're not forced to. It's like they kept a 1-lander, like they want to play the Hierarch. Do I play this into the bolts? I think I'll wait. When it hits bolt off Bloodbraid Elf. Alright, so we'll go Channeler, Needle, likely name Renin 6. Love to surveil a Kroxa into the yard. I guess I'll keep this. Yeah, drawing on Earth would be pretty sick. Kolaghan's Command. Kroxa is fine. Opponent's hand is Veil of Summer. 2 mystery cards. I didn't like having to keep the Heat here, but I feel like just like if I could heat the Bloodbraid Elf and hope they don't top deck too well, could maybe draw out of this. Have a Grist. Yeah, maybe sandbagging the Needle was better. Yeah, I think we're likely going to take the L-Chat, unfortunately. Pretty frustrating match. But I also didn't play perfectly. I don't know. I mean, playing out the Needle preemptively is nice. I didn't know that they had the Grist in their deck. Just taking the L with Grayson. Yeah, we also got the Surveil when we cast the Needle too. Yeah, it made a lot of sense there. Just taking the L. Okay, I'm gonna go eat lunch and eat my feelings away, I guess. should have a little bit of time to grind off stream. Not a ton, but a little bit tonight. I'll be live tomorrow playing the Modern Challenge, and I'll be revealing my preview card then, so you can tune in for that. But I think I'm gonna call it here. Just find